Hangouts. I'm being a segment today on the program. INEC restores the David Mark-led NWC in response to Supreme Court judgment. Olori Janet Mba Afolabi Foundation unveils Newswatch 5 lecture series tribute session for late media icon Yakubu Muhammad. And later on the show in Lagos, Ajose ignores consensus arrangement, picks APC 50 million naira governorship nomination form. Well, I'll be hanging out with Charles, Ideo and Kaidi Ladende. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. Authority often finds its clearest voice and legitimacy in the rule of law. And in our democracy, the courtroom frequently becomes the arena where political identity is settled. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reinstated the David Mark-led National Working Committee of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, acting in compliance with the Supreme Court judgment on the protracted leadership dispute within the party. INEC's earlier withdrawal of recognition reflected a confusion, but the Apex Court ruling provided a position compelling the Commission to formally acknowledge Mark's leadership. Okay, yesterday we got this news. It came in as breaking news, and we talked about it a little, but this time we dig deep into it. I'll start with you, Charles. The Supreme Court has now restored David Mark, NWC. Tell us what the judgment means.
Okay, I think there are, for me, there are so many angles to that verdict. Number one is the fact that what the appeal court did, as lawyers would say, is alien to the judicial process. The Federal High Court that said that they should serve David Mark, that what's his name now, the Bala Usman should serve David Mark and give reason why that the motion should go on. Okay, that was still subsisting. It was, of course, I know that it was an error on part of ADC to have run to the appellate court to go over there. What the appeal court ought to have done was, okay, why don't you go back to that and serve them? Because that phrase today is still causing a lot of trouble to status quo ante bellum and all that. We know the meaning, but a lot of people were now defining it the way to suit them, and that created a whole lot of trouble in the polity. And fingers were now being pointed at the ruling party as being responsible for the orchestration of this and not that. Oh, remember this issue of a one-party state being flown, the kite being flown anyway. So I think what the Supreme Court did yesterday was what the appeal court ought to have done, to say return to where it is and find a way to look at. First, you go and serve these people, serve them. Then you serve them first, and then you return. After you return, you know whether that motion was going to be granted. And although ADC should have waited for the bench, it was good that they went to the Supreme Court. Yes. As I said, there are so many. The angle is that I think this is also a reprieve for us all, both political watchers, both journalists and all of sorts, for what has happened, because there's a general law in the system. That hype, what's his name, the Bible I call the convolution of the political has also reduced. Then APC, again, the political stones being held at the party as being responsible. That's also now, and the APC also go to bed to say, okay, they too, nobody's going to be at that guy's job with them. So I think for me, it bodes well for us, both well for the polity, both well for opposition structure in this country. All right, let's talk about the implication of the Supreme Court ruling on the ADC.
Yeah, the implication is just to say that whatever is not before the Supreme Court is not going to intervene. Yeah. So this is just to let us know that I keep saying it, and I think I'm not going to swallow my words on that. What the INEC chairman has done is to help ADC to know their real status. It's because if not for the INEC chairman who had said that, hey, go and address this appeal court ruling. This appeal court ruling is not sending a good signal that I should recognize you. Because nobody told INEC to recognize David Mark-led committee before this issue came up. And the same INEC is now saying, based on this paper, I don't think it is right for us to keep recognizing you. Go and sort it out. So that's what David Mark team, because if they disregarded INEC chairman's statement, they wouldn't have gone to Supreme Court.
Oh, okay.
So what Supreme Court has done is to now, elucidate that point that ADC was making, that the appeal court's position was totally uncalled for.
Okay.
So, and that's what the Supreme Court has done. So Supreme Court has come to say, hey, this matter, wait for it to be sorted at the Federal High Court. So, in clear terms, because I think I must mention his name, someone like Liberal Soshoma, he's been explaining it. In fact, the latest one he did on his Facebook was to even say it in Pidgin, so that people can understand it clearly. And I totally agree to what he has explained. So what he has explained, quoting him now, so that people don't think we are just bloody, unlearned.
No, we are educated. They are
we
learned.
are educated. They are learned.
Yes.
But we're also learned. So what he has explained is that, excuse me, this case has not been determined.
Yeah. Okay.
Go back to the Federal High Court. So why INEC, which I think you will ask later, why INEC has recognized, has put David Mark's name back, is that was what they were doing before they went to that appeal court.
Okay, so what you're now saying is the Supreme Court ruling, is this a short-lived victory for the ADC?
Of course it is. Don't forget the ruling on Wednesday. That's a different matter. Where the state chairman,
Justice Joyce, Abdul Malik,
which the state said that, hey, let these people finish their 4 years. Who declared them not chairman? And they should also conduct the congresses. So that's another issue that I think is the headache that ADC had to deal with.
Okay. Now, he has talked about, we're still going to talk more on that. But let's talk about the outcomes.
Yes.
Time.
The window is very,
ADC
very
will
tight.
have to go to the Federal High Court, to sort out. Now, do you
them.
think they will be able to meet up with the electoral timeline? What would you advise the ADC do at this time?
Well, I think I also love what the ADC did at that time. Even though the cases were subsisting in the court, they went ahead to conduct that national convention, which of course they are going to be holding abeyance for whatever outcome. Positive for them, negative, but at least they are holding it in their kitty. They might also want to continue running their business while these cases are. Yeah, but at the last count, there's about 13 cases, similar cases regarding this in court, either 12 or 13.
Wow.
So how they are going to be able to dispense with that within the time frame is, I think, it's very tight.
So what will you advise?
What I advise is that. I think there's not a second. But if they can approach the court, if it's possible, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. If they can approach that Federal High Court, okay, they are seeking accelerated hearing. I think that's also possible in law. Accelerated hearing or expedited hearing, whatever they call it, for them to determine whether indeed the NWC led by David Mark, following the resignation, purported resignation of Bala Usman, whether that will stand, or the current NWC led by David Mark, which one will stand. I think they need to go to court. Since you're asking me to say whether there's going to be expedited hearing for them to know, because the time is very short for them to be able to come up, and then they also have primaries upon them. So how would they be able to navigate the murky waters right now is a whole lot to chew.
The time. Do you think they'll be able to meet up? Where do you think this will eventually end up?
Because it's a difficult question and it's a difficult situation. And I want to believe that I do not envy the ADC leaders at this time. And the politicians, I think one thing people should understand is that Nigerian politicians are not gullible, they are not stupid, they are not fools. Maybe I should say this here, I won't be surprised if there is a plan B by these politicians to find another platform. Because from the situation at hand, I think the only option for them, if we were to advise, is to continue moving as if nothing is wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Because INEC is dealing with the law. The law is the law.
Okay.
The law will not suspend itself because one of the players is having issue. You understand? Because if you say, oh, INEC should wait for ADC to resolve all these issues, amend their timetable, do all stuff
because they've not even started selling forms.
Yes.
Because, for example, now, they will definitely go ahead with this this recognition by INEC.
Okay.
They will go ahead, not forgetting that there are issues, because I didn't even know they are up to 13.
Up to 12, 13, yes.
Because I'm even referring to the Joyce Abdul Malik judgment, because that alone is enough distraction.
No,
because what that means is that they must conduct fresh state congresses. There cannot be convention if there are no congresses.
But it's from the bottom.
But another thing is, you talked about Justice Joyce Abdul Malik, the ruling on Wednesday. But with this ruling yesterday by the Supreme Court, has it rendered the judgment by Justice Abdul Malik academic, or is it still a living matter?
It's a living matter. It's a life on its own.
It's a different case.
In fact, if you read that judgment is so loaded that the judgment was derived from the ground norm, the Constitution.
Okay.
But I think it's embedded. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because the Constitution is saying that, the Constitution, not the electoral law now, is saying that executive shall use 4 years in their tenure. You know, so these people have not finished their 4 years. And these people are saying that who made us ex-chairman? We are still the chairman of these various states. So technically speaking, these people are saying that, and the Constitution also empowers them. The Constitution,
Constitution
also empowers them to conduct state congresses,
to elect
which
new
they did not.
Executives.
So whatever congresses produce that convention that they are doing is already a nullity. So for me, like I said, let me allow court to determine that. So while court will determine that, let them just continue moving on, or find an alternative.
No, an alternative will not help them.
Tell me why.
The reason is because the alternative we're talking about now is that the platform already available right here and there. There are structures waiting, structures to be, because don't be deceived. No, don't be deceived. Somebody come into my house. I already have everything settled. You're coming to now take over, because they're not coming to play second fiddle. They are coming because they are gladiators. So those who are meeting on ground is exactly what's happening in Bauchi. We also happen. But what I think, there's a window of escape. The window of escape is that the feathers that are ruffled amongst the state chairmen, they could call them together. Thankfully, there are two options for choosing leaders now. There is what they call the direct primaries and then the concession. So they can say, okay, within a week or so, they can do concession. And that concession, okay, as I said, they had to, the ruffled feathers have to do something about it. Appeal. Then when they appeal to them, I meant, and then they could do that within a week. Then they do.
But you told me there are still 12 cases.
No, not do exactly.
If that is the only case, because that one I didn't even know.
There are.
Until that judgment came. So I don't know. It's a difficult situation. Trust me, I do not envy them. You can see us even trying to find solutions.
Exactly.
I think they are even members of this.
Because I saw, they were rejoicing in court and all that.
That joy.
As far as that judgment is concerned, is in their favor.
It's in their favor.
They can celebrate that goal.
It's a reprieve.
It's like scoring a goal. It's like scoring a goal when the match is not ended. You will rejoice over the goal.
So that judgment kind of helps ADC's cause.
Yeah, you know why? They may have been rejoicing because at least it has given a reprieve, and then there is a kind of allowance for them to readjust whatever. And because they were working on a tightrope. Suddenly the title removed, and then they have freedom to move. And maybe, okay, somebody has given you about 12 by 2, okay, what am I saying, 8 by 8 square meters to work on. Suddenly they're giving you a hall. So that's also happiness. So you have space to move around. So within that space to move, they can be able to do this in order to say, okay, we have a way to move out. That's what I'm saying, that I'm suggesting that they could do that, appeal to ruffle feathers, find a way to use perhaps the other platform of consensus, and then do it. It's possible.
All right, we have Chris calling in from Surulere. Chris, let's talk. Chris, are you still with us? Chris, do you want to talk to us, or you want to clear your throat?
Yes, I'd like to contribute to the discussion.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
You see, the issue is you can't be cleverer than the Constitution.
All right.
Hello?
Go ahead.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, you can be cleverer than the Constitution. And you can't also come in through the back door. The problem is that these politicians that took over ADC already knew there were going to be fights. They knew there were going to be problems when they took over the party. When they forced Chief Rafosu to resign, they left Balana Gombe because they thought he was a pushover. Now, that was why they are running helter-skelter. And I'll tell you this for free. This is a lesson to our politicians and political parties, that if they do not work with their fellow politicians, like all these your party chairmen from the states and so on and so forth, they will also have problem at the center. Everybody looks at the center as if the center is the beginning and end of what we do. No, once you don't start from the grassroots, you lose, and that is the problem of David Mark and his co-travelers who just are coming in from the top. They're not bothered about what is happening down. So if you hijack the machinery of the party, how will you run the party? As it is, there's another issue, The government is saying that ADC is one of the parties that didn't meet 25%, at the end of the last election, they should be registered. That's another issue. So at the end of the day, I tell you this, David McCann will leave ADC as well. And they will go to another party and destroy it. They keep moving from one party to the other till they retire.
All right,
and then. Nigeria is better for it because we're now seeing that these politicians don't have us at the back of their mind.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
There's something I need to. I spoke with a BOT member of ADC this afternoon when the topic was sent to me. He said, Bala Gombe.
Yes.
He said that it wasn't even the person next in their hierarchy. After Wosun, you have deputy national chairman and chairman. He said the person who is next to Ralph Wosun was the one representing Southwest. I think because his name something Ajadi. If anybody was supposed to even say it is my turn, it's Ajadi, not Gombe. Because Gombe is the either third or fourth in that hierarchy. That's also a case that is not being mentioned in the media.
All right. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see what's going to happen.